Wow, and the outdoors?
Outdoors.
That's lovely, isn't it? All right, well, tell us about yourself, Max. How did you get into silent acting? Did you study or?
Yeah, I did. I did actually study the circus, like to start somehow, like being like professionally physical. I started a circus. I did a circus school in Paris, and I also did a mime school with Marcel Marceau in Paris.
Okay.
So
How does one get into the circus? Like, what led you down that path?
for me, I think it's a different energy since I was a child,
Yeah.
kid. I've somehow always been fascinated by movement. I watched a lot of martial arts films, and I think there's also this thing about doing crazy things with the body
Yeah.
somehow, and somehow was really attracted to it. First of all, as a witness,
Yeah.
or as a person who actually vibrate from that, and at some point I was doing a lot of sports. I was always a sport guy, very physical, and I think also for me, as long as I can remember, physical being
Yeah.
was also for me a part of being myself.
Yeah.
As I felt language or using words to express was a bit scary for me.
Yeah.
So I've always find myself grounded, being physical.
Physical.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. So you found it a lot easier to express yourself artistically through movement rather than using your voice,
and I
or?
think also express. I mean, obviously, as you say, like artistically, but I think it's also kind of at first, express.
Yeah.
I think for me it was the only place I would, because I have, I think, abilities. Where it felt safe to express actually myself. Yeah.
So when you say circus, the first thing that pops to mind is elephants, lions, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well,
Is any of that come into it for you?
I never tried being a lion. No. Actually, no. It was more, juggling,
Okay.
acrobatics. I've never been specializing into anything. It was more like a overview of all. But I never worked with animals, for example.
Yeah.
Except once I did this artistic jumping on the horse.
On the horse?
Well, they were ponies, right?
Wow.
But no, that was fun.
That's very cool.
That's great fun.
And how does that translate to what you do now, working with opera? How is that segued? Was that an easy transition? Did you go from working in a circus to start becoming?
I actually never really worked in a circus.
Okay.
Properly. I think I somehow never really made it to a very high level. I think for me it was more, and everything I did in my career or workshops or trying to get different colors or let's say texture visually, I never really specialized in anything in circus. So I didn't have the level to do like crazy stuff. No, I actually went very fast from circus to the mime school, actually, which was really the shift point for me, somehow to really engage on what I've been missing as a witness or an audience for circus or physical performance. I've always felt what was missing for me was the emotion.
Okay.
Because for me, theater is about sharing emotions to each other in order to connect, reflect, and I really found that in mime actually to actually use your body with the intention to really connect with the emotions, what people feel, and sometimes with a very high performance I was missing like our condition as human beings.
Yeah.
You know? So that was the shift for me, and it was amazing because I really felt I could combine both, being physical, expressing, showing images, and also being deep.
Yeah.
So.
Did dance ever play a part in that? Did you ever do dance work?
Yeah, I've always do a bit of dance, but a bit the same actually.
Yeah.
Just picking.
Yeah.
And getting vibes. I never really wanted to really classify myself into a certain things. So I did a bit of ballet,
Yep.
ballet dancing, contemporary, capoeira, contact improv lately.
Cool.
But no, I was never hired
Yeah.
as a dancer. I mean, I can integrate a group of dancers,
Yeah.
but I would not define myself as a dancer.
Okay. How do you, using those skills like you said in that tapestry of different things, you take a bit from there and a bit from there, how do you prepare for a role? Like you're currently doing the Barber of Seville.
Yeah.
How did you prepare for that? I know it's a revival, but
I guess first for me is to get what's the intention of the piece. Let's say for here, what's the story? What are the characters that we're going to be playing?
Yeah.
And how can we help the story, the situation? To be able to actually put a lot of myself in the character. So it's really interesting. I can feel my sensitivity or my craziness that I can express. But basically, I think it's more who is the character in all that. I would say that would be the main thing to prepare. And then, I don't know, it's just a creative process.
Yeah.
You just try. For me, it's more about giving propositions, improvising a lot in order for the director to say yes, no.
yeah,
And it's very interesting for me to be able to just flow
just go at it.
and so then try different things, different rhythm, different ideas, different levels of emotions, or
Yeah. You just talked about trial and error. What is something that you see some of your co-workers that may not have the background in movement like you do? How do you think that they could improve and imbue the emotion and the actions like you do, that you find so easy? Or is it sometimes
I
you
don't
see?
know. I would say, yeah, just. For myself, I did a lot learning, looking,
Okay.
observing. So I would say the best thing is try to be as much as possible witnessing,
Yeah.
observe, and how people walk, how the emotions is going through your body or someone else.
Yeah.
And I would say don't be ashamed to be someone you're not, or maybe it's just an expansion of what you are.
Yeah.
But just go for it. And I would say just practice. I mean, just like go in it, improvise a lot.
Yeah.
Being very, listening also to what's happening on the.
Is there any movements you find that just don't read? Like, is there sometimes on stage that you have an idea and you go with it, and it just doesn't come off? Is there like certain how do I phrase
The
this?
reaction.
Yeah, like trying to get some really powerful, clear movements with your body, and in your mind's eye, you think that's a good movement, but it might not read the way you think. Is it handy having other people in the space to bounce off with stuff like that? Do you record yourself?
I think so. No, I never recorded myself. I think I hate seeing myself already. Like judging myself all the time, like too slow, too. Yeah, I think that's what I was saying. Observe.
Yeah.
If you see something that feels right, that's right.
Okay.
Don't judge. I think, for example, my master Marcel Marceau, he was always saying like, sometimes you have a performance and you're like, the audience was not so good tonight.
Yeah.
Because it didn't work out. No, the audience is always good
Okay.
because they have. It's not about being critical but as an audience, you have the perfect eye because you're the one everything is done for, and you feel if it's working or not.
Yeah.
So it's really. So I would say observe a lot, and I think also in working with mime, and we did a lot of, or actually I did, or I have this intuitionally. Somehow the ability to, if I make a move, because I'm an observing person, I can already see how it looks like.
Yeah.
It's kind of I'm both ways.
Okay.
I'm on stage where I'm performing, improvising, but I also see the shape of my body on stage, where I'm located on stage. So somehow I have already this view of the audience, and I can already say, not big enough,
Yeah.
too close, So I think, but if you don't have that, I would say, have someone to respond to you,
Okay.
to describe what I did feel. Because you're right, there's a difference between what you think.
Yeah, and what actually
what
reads.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you prefer working with other people on stage? Or
Yes,
I'd imagine it gives you so much more to bounce off.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I come from a big part of my background is mime, and as you know, Marcel is known to also to be a solo performer. He was a lot more than that, but also a very strong solo performer. And there's a lot of solo performances, but for me, I never felt whether the need and really the wish actually to do that, because for me, acting is sharing, and I probably do some interesting thing on stage on my own.
Yeah.
But I think for me the essence, at least for why I do this job, is to share.
Yeah.
So I think I would always want to share the stage.
Yeah. How do you maintain your flexibility?
I don't.
You don't?
Oh, no. I won't give anyone a good advice on. I'm terrible.
You see, because you had me fooled. All the jumping you do on stage, you're falling over.
I just let life
happen.
happens. No, I'm a very lazy person.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel bad about it because, as I was saying, I also missed the opportunity of going a very high level on things. But I don't know. Somehow, this is not what's important.
Yeah.
I should more care about myself.
Well, the reason I ask is because you're constantly jumping on stage, falling on the ground. Like, I'd imagine there's some level of inherent danger with injury and stuff like that.
The thing is that I think I work now on how can I say, secured physicality for my own. I've been practicing a lot, doing acrobatics. I've been falling on the floor a lot, so I kind of still perform on the remain of that, which is a strong remain. So it's very hard for me to hurt myself, for example, or because my physicality, for example, at the barber, I'm doing slapstick and clowning, but I'm not doing like a triple somersault and arriving on a one spot, you know. So,
exactly.
But yeah.
When you say about slapstick, can you expand on that? Because I wasn't familiar with that term.
Yeah, I think for me is that I'm really not an expert, and getting on with it now, with the curiosity of what else is. As I was saying, I was always a bit of a lazy person. So no, I could not. I don't really have words to, and I don't know all the physical genre. But I think slapstick for me is a mix of technicality, musicality, humor, clowning, based on comedy.
Yeah.
Slapstick is the rhythmic of comedy. And it's very interesting for me because I think comedy, and that's why I really love the job of Annabelle, for example, in these shows and stuff. Comedy works differently. For me, comedy is like a Swiss watch, horlogerie.
Yeah.
It's a very precise art, actually. If you get, I think that's why I really love also nowadays working in opera, because the musicality and the music and its structure is at the very heart of the job. So somehow that's also why I connect very very easily because the background of it is like that's work.
Yeah.
It has to be precise. If you do it, doesn't work.
Yeah.
And the whole piece doesn't work sometimes because of one note that is out.
That's out.
So
You spoke about clowning. How much of that, because your facial expressions on stage are fantastic. Like they're really entertaining to watch. Is that something you've just developed over time, like you said, or is that something that you put a bit of effort to and just sat in front of the mirror and pulled some faces?
No. I never practiced in front of a mirror. But and also that's what we were working on in mime, actually. Is that it's not just a facial expression. For me, everything is a result of our inner voice, of my character or what's happening. And sometimes it's, for me, very musical. It doesn't have to be a very concrete thought or a word, but it's musical. Musical and alive, maybe with a sound or a word. I don't know. For example, if I play a surprise, for me, I have to help. There's already a sound going with it. So, I think it's just the result of a inner voice, and I think it's a good. You were asking a bit earlier, like, how can you express more? I think that's a very big part of it.
So listening to that inner voice.
Yes. What you want to say.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, if I'm being silent and I want to express something that's happening to the audience as an aparté.
Yeah.
And I want to express surprise at a certain thing, I have to sometimes think, oh my God.
Yeah.
But just doing with it, just shutting the sound out.
Yeah.
But just expressing. Yeah.
Is that a dialogue? Because I've seen you in the rehearsal space. You'd be like, ah, and you're constantly trying different things, moving.
Yeah.
And so when you're in the action of doing that, does it feel like a dialogue with yourself? You're like, mate, does this work? Or this? And then you kind of go about it that way?
Yeah. And somehow what you say is very interesting, because even though we don't communicate with other performers, it is a dialogue.
Yeah, definitely.
There's just no words. And sometimes a physicality is just like, for example, you're going to say, how do you feel? And I'm just going to go like...
Chill, relax, lean back.
And that's already a dialogue.
Yeah.
And that's what I like, actually, with being on stage. And so, yeah, I think for me it is... that's what's happening on stage, actually. It is a dialogue between performers, actors, singers. And there's also your own inner
voice.
Dialogue,
Yeah. Has silent acting, clowning, slapstick, in my opinion, I've seen a definite uptick in popularity with opera and working in other phases of theatre. Have you noticed that as well? Has it always been a prevalent thing?
I'm not sure I understand what you're trying to...
Let me rephrase that. If you think of grand opera or that traditional opera, you don't always think of actors coming in and doing stuff, big movements, that kind of stuff. Is very much the gentleman with the spear just singing.
Yeah.
Has that something that's blown up in recent years, do you think? That, like, say, the last 30 years, that's been a bit more popular?
I think so. I think my guess would be, because I can see there's a lot of directors nowadays that comes from the theater world, which I think for me is already another impulse also to expressing the piece. But I imagine, like, because for example, I just discovered opera. I was 25 years old, and then I was just offered to enter this world. Yeah, you know, so it's quite new for me. But no, I think there were always dancers. Yeah, for example, there were always movers. Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, there were definitely always dancers.
Yeah, for sure, because I think in these kind of productions or shows, it's about the whole universe, and sometimes the singers cannot feel this whole universe
Yeah.
just by themselves. So I think we always need it.
Yeah.
People to express, I don't know, dancing, being the background, and just already being the background, is
Yeah.
being silent acting.
Yeah, it's true. I've never thought of it like
Yeah.
that, but you're totally right. If you are just a chorister, if you're in the background and you don't have a line to sing and you're moving around doing your thing,
Yeah,
it is all silent acting.
It is, because somehow you put a meaning or an expression of what the director or the piece, even the piece itself, is trying to say.
Looking back on your career, is there anything you'd change? Is there any path you went down that you're like, nah, shouldn't have done that. I should have focused more on this section of the art form, or?
No,
No?
I don't think so.
That's not a bad thing either.
No. I think everything is like where it should be for me.
Yeah.
I never had, like, for example, like very high dreams. I want to be this. No, I'm just following my flow.
Yeah.
So I think it's really a good place for me. But referring to what we were saying a bit earlier, yeah, sometimes I regret or the frustration to have been lazy, and sometimes maybe insecure or shy to go for a higher level, for example, of physicality.
Yeah.
But no, I think everything's.
Have you ever been scared on stage when you had something that was quite intimidating? For example, you might have been up quite high, or
Yeah, well, I was very reasonable with that because no, I was never really put in a very dangerous
position.
Sometimes in a bit of height, but everything I could manage.
Yeah, you felt
And for
good with that.
example, to the previous question, yeah, I never went on that level of, for example, taking risks physically. So I will never know.
You know.
But I'm very happy to watch these amazing performers doing that.
Yeah.
For me, for example, I have the feeling I'm already doing it.
Yeah.
Looking at them, you know.
I think that is a benefit that not many people realize. This when you're taking part in a show or in an opera, you are kind of watching it at the same time. Yes, you've got a job to do. Yes, but there are moments where you stop and you look around side to side and you just hear them singing, the band playing, the orchestra, sorry, and you're like, wow, this is very cool.
Yeah, it's really funny. I just have this thought right now because you were telling me about face or inner
Dialogue.
Dialogue.
Yeah.
That's what I love being in performing in the operas. Honestly, I'm just having so much fun. I have the feeling I am watching a show. And sometimes the expression I'm at is just me watching a show.
So, wow.
I'm here, guys. Like, that's amazing. No, it's so powerful for me to be, because everything's live.
Yeah.
And that's what I really love about opera. Everything is live. There is hundreds of people working on it. Like, and for myself, I take the opportunity to also thank every department working on a production like that, because my vision is that a show doesn't happen
Okay.
without all of these people. For me, it's not about who's on stage. Yeah, of course, the audience know who is on stage, but I have so much respect for the tech crews, makeup, the wigs. Like, for example, it's a stupid example, but
There's just so much that goes into it.
If I don't have help, I don't make my costume change, and I'm not on stage.
Yeah, exactly.
So I really depend also on all this to work. It's a what I love. It's a huge collaboration.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
for me, that's what's.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
It takes a village to raise a baby, and it takes a village to make an opera.
Exactly. And sometimes, I know on the program, you have the names of a lot of people, but you don't see it.
Yeah.
How many people are backstage?
Yeah.
Like, for example,
Lighting.
very recently here, I've been coming 2 hours before the show, and I see on the TV that the crew set is just ripping apart a set, and in 2 hours, ours is ready. It's just, it's magic.
Yeah, that is cool. So for those of you who don't know, the TV is the monitor with the
Yeah.
live stream of the stage, and you always see what's going on. And in between rehearsals and shows, they completely rip down one opera stage and setting and then put a whole new one up.
Yeah.
And they do that in a couple of hours. It's quite
That's
extraordinary.
magic. Yeah.
How do you go about securing work? Do you have an agent? Is that something that you guys do with, or is
no,
it
I
all
don't.
just word of mouth?
Yeah, for me it was networking. I never had an agent. I think also for me it's a thing of being maybe shy or insecure also to have stepped into anyone to say. But I've been very lucky all my career to just maybe being there in a good place at the good time. And no, it's all network. Sometimes I'm trying to get hold on people I would love to work, but for example, for my job, I don't think you know me until you saw me.
Yeah.
I cannot talk about what I'm doing.
You don't know.
No, you have to see.
Yeah, you gotta wait
There's
and
no
find
words
out.
for me to sell myself somehow.
Yeah.
You know, it's what I do is a result of what you can see. But I've been very lucky to mainly work on network and people I've worked with, and we have a good collaboration, and we can see how we can co-create.
Yeah.
And being.
It's very cool. How have you found travel with your
But
work?
I'm looking for an agent, but like a top level one.
Maybe this might help you.
Yeah,
Who knows?
I'm right here.
How have you dealt with traveling for your work? Because I know that you commute from
Yeah.
Paris every day at the moment during the performance period. Do you find that tiring, or is it not really a problem for a physical actor? Because I know as a singer,
It can be tiring, but no, I think I'm very used to it.
Okay.
I've been traveling since I started working with Marcel Marceau,
yeah,
doing world tours, and so I'm very used to be on tour. I've always been on tour actually since I started this work.
it's very cool.
Sometimes it's a bit excessive, obviously, but no, I think for me, the reason it's not so tiring is that it also gives me the opportunity to leave a place to be present in another one. And I think my job is to be present.
Yeah,
And so in doing so, I also have the opportunity to leave what's before to be fully here.
yeah,
So I would say that also can be a part of a preparation.
yeah. Like dropping your baggage.
Yeah,
and moving on to the
yeah. And
next thing.
now it's this team,
Yeah.
it's this show, this story. This,
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite location that you've ever performed in, or any places that you've traveled to on your, like you said, world tour that you're like, this is amazing, this is the spot?
Some places are amazing, but this one is amazing here. Kleinborn is a very peculiar place. First time I came here to work, I didn't know about this opera festival, and I just came and saw the Pound, and like, this is gonna be my workspace.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
For like 2 months.
We're
And
very
I was
lucky.
like, that's amazing. So it's a very rare location. So I really love this place. Yeah, there's a lot of very good places, but I think also what makes the place is the people. And the way you are welcome, the way they are investing artistically, creatively, being available for your needs, and there's a lot of place because there's a lot of
Just having that good community.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes.
All right, to close up with, if someone was in your shoes now and they feel really that they express themselves very well through movement and that, and they wanted to do what you do, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I would say keep on sharing, and keep on being very profound and honest
Yeah.
in what you are feeling, expressing, and sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And just be present and playful.
Playful.
I would say playful. Just enjoy
Very good.
sharing. And it was a pleasure sharing this
Yeah, this interview.
this interview. And I really like our yeah, this little time, because for example, as I was saying, I can feel movements and stuff, and I felt from start, for example, that you have a very good physicality, for example.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
I can really tell from day one, seeing how you, for example, respond or propose things, that you have a high quality.
Well, the thing was, I was watching you.
I'm just a mirror. I cannot have the talent for you. You know?
Awesome.
So it's yeah, and I think this is very nice, encouraging, and sharing of that. So thank you for that.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Take
you.
care. Take care.